The breaking point, Tana de Armas, sat in her trailer, the door half shut, the world outside still buzzing with crew footsteps and distant shouts. Inside, there was only silence, heavy thick silence that wrapped around her like a fog. She pressed, her fingers against her temples, trying to fight off the shaking that started in her chest. Her eyes, rimmed with exhaustion, stared at the floor. No. She hadn't cried yet, but it was close. Too close. That morning had been the final push. She had walked onto set already tired from weeks of restless nights, and the director had been short. With her, again. Her co-star had thrown a line at her with barely any energy, blaming it later on just being tired. And the headlines screamed that she was losing her shine, that she was difficult, slipping. None of them knew the truth. None of them cared to. She had held it in during filming. She smiled, acted, hit her marks. She did it all like a machine. But once the cameras were off, she felt herself unraveling thread by thread. That was when Keanu knocked on the door. It wasn't loud, just a gentle knock. And when she didn't answer, he pushed it open slowly. He didn't say anything at first. He just stepped in, calm, silent, and sat in the chair across from her like he had all the time in the world. His eyes were kind, always kind. "Can I sit here a while?" he asked, voice soft like rain. Anna nodded, but she didn't look at him. Her throat burned. She didn't want to break in front of him. Not him. Keanu didn't ask questions. He didn't pry or poke. He just sat there. He looked at her like he saw her, not the actress, not the headline, not the product, but the person. After a long pause, he spoke again. "I've had days like this, ones where everything feels like it's slipping, where you start to wonder if it's even worth it anymore." Anna blinked. Her lip trembled. She kept her gaze fixed on the floor. "It's not you," he continued gently. "It's the noise. It's the weight. Sometimes it gets heavy. But you're not alone in it." She finally met his eyes. Something about the way he spoke. There was no pity. Just truth. Raw, honest truth. "You think I'm strong?" Anna asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Because I don't feel strong." Keanu smiled, but there was sadness in it. "You're strong because you're still here. You show up, you give everything. And even when it hurts, you don't run. That's not weakness, Anna. That's bravery." Tears finally slid down her cheek. She didn't wipe them away. Keanu didn't reach to wipe them either. He just let them fall. Let her have that moment without fixing it or silencing it. "You don't have to hold it all together," he said. Quietly, not every day. Anna looked away, her shoulders shaking slightly. "But what if I fall apart?" Keanu leaned forward, his voice firmer now, but still gentle. "Then I'll be here to help you hold the pieces." The silence that followed was different, softer, safer. That day, Anna didn't go back to set right away. Instead, she stayed in that small trailer, breathing in the quiet, leaning into the stillness. And Keanu stayed too. He didn't try to distract her or change the subject. He just gave her space. The kind of space that feels like shelter. Outside, the sun dipped low, casting golden light across the lot. The world kept turning. Cameras kept rolling. People kept walking. But inside that trailer, something had shifted. It's not fixed, not solved, but held gently, carefully, like a cracked vase supported by steady hands. Anna didn't say thank you that day. Not out loud. But the way her shoulders relaxed, the way her eyes softened, said enough. Because sometimes the greatest kindness isn't fixing someone, simply staying when they feel like breaking. And Keanu knew that better than anyone. When silence speaks louder than words, next morning on set, Anna walked in with quiet eyes, kind that had cried but still chose to return. Her hair was tied back, her makeup light, and she wore a hoodie that hung a little too loose, as if she needed something to shield herself. Around her, people moved like usual lighting crew adjusting rigs, assistants whispering into headsets, extras filing in with coffee cups. The world kept spinning. No one noticed the storm she had barely survived the night before, except Keanu. He saw her the second she stepped onto set. He didn't wave or call her name, simply gave her a nod, gentle, silent nod that said, "I'm still here?" Anna nodded back. For a second, she almost smiled. As the scene started rolling, Anna tried to focus. She had lines to deliver, emotions to pull from deep inside, marks to hit. But something was off. Not wrong, just different. Feel hollow today. The pain hadn't disappeared, but it wasn't choking her anymore. In the middle of the scene, Keanu had to reach out and take her hand, just acting, of course. But when his fingers wrapped around hers, she felt it. His presence, calm, steady, like an anchor in wild waves. "Cut," the director called. "Anna, let's try that last part again with a little more edge. All right?" Anna nodded, hiding the flicker of frustration behind her smile. She wanted to scream, but she didn't. She took a breath, reset, and tried again. After the scene, she walked over to a quiet spot by the studio wall. She didn't want to be around people. Too many eyes, too many opinions. Keanu followed, but he kept his distance at first. He leaned against a nearby column, folding his arms and watching the sky. "You okay?" he finally asked. Anna took a deep breath. "No, but I'm here." Keanu tilted his head. "That's something. That's everything, actually." She turned. To him, arms crossed. "It's like I can't breathe sometimes. Like every second someone's waiting for me to fail." "I know the feeling," he said softly. Anna raised her eyebrows. But you're you," Keanu chuckled. "I'm me, yes. But I'm also someone who's lost people, made mistakes, been doubted, been called things that weren't true. How do you deal with it?" He looked down at the ground for a moment, thinking, "I remind myself who I am outside of the noise. The cameras, the headlines, they don't define me. They don't define you either." Anna swallowed hard. "But what if they stop calling? What if one day, ... I'm just forgotten?" Keanu stepped closer. His voice was quieter now, but stronger. "You're not here because of luck. You're here because you earned it, because you fought for it. If the world forgets, you won't. You'll still know your worth. You'll still have the people who matter." Anna looked into his eyes. There was no script there, no performance. It's just truth. Later that day, they had another scene to shoot, one with deep emotion. Anna was supposed to break down on camera, and the director wanted it raw, real. As the cameras rolled, Anna closed her eyes and pictured the doubt, the headlines, the long nights of loneliness. She pictured the girl who had once dreamed of being Sanand, how that dream had turned into a burden. The tears came, naturally this time, slid down her face as her voice cracked. But what made the scene magic wasn't her tears. It was Keanu's reaction. He didn't interrupt, didn't overshadow her. He stood in the frame, listening, receiving, holding space. And in that moment, the camera caught something real, not acting dash truth. When the director yelled, "Cut!" the entire crew was silent for a few beats. Even the sound guy looked moved. Anna turned away quickly, wiping her face, embarrassed. But Keanu walked up to her, placed a hand gently on her back, and said, "You were brave. That wasn't just performance. That was healing." Anna didn't say anything. She didn't have to. Her heart beat a little steadier. Her breath came a little easier. That evening, back in her trailer, she found a small note slipped under her door. Simple, no signature. It read, "Every day you choose to keep going, you remind someone else they can too." She didn't need to guess who it was from. For the first time in days, smiled without forcing it. Because sometimes it's not the loud gestures that matter most. Sometimes the quiet ones save us. The weight she never shared on and didn't speak much that week. She did her work, smiled politely, responded when spoken to, but behind her eyes was a shadow. One that didn't quite leave, even when the lights were off and the set was quiet. Her mind kept circling the same. Thoughts, memories, guilt, pressure. Everything she had been hiding even from herself. On Wednesday, they had a break in filming. Anna thought of going home, maybe just sleeping for a day, but something stopped her. Instead, she wandered through the back lot, her hoodie up, hands in her pockets. It was quiet there. No cameras, no people pretending to care. She found Keanu by the old prop van, sitting alone with a paperback book in his hands. He looked up and gave her a warm nod, then patted the space beside him. She didn't hesitate. She sat for a while, Neither of them said anything. The sun was soft, casting a gold hue on everything. The silence was comfortable. Finally, she spoke, voice low. I don't tell people this, but sometimes when I wake up, I feel like there's a brick on my chest. Keanu closed his book. His face didn't change. He just listened. Some days I can barely get out of bed, she continued. I smile, I go to work, but inside, it's like I'm screaming. Keanu nodded slowly. That kind of pain doesn't show up on camera, but it's real. It started last year, Anna whispered. My father got sick. I tried to keep working through it. Then the gossip started, tabloids twisting things, calling me cold, distant. I was just trying to survive. Keanu looked at her, his eyes full of quiet empathy. You don't have to carry all of that alone. Anna shook her head. I'm scared. If I open up, people will think I'm weak. They'll say I'm unstable, that I can't handle pressure. Keanu said, gently but firmly, your honesty doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. She looked down at her hands. You ever been scared of losing yourself? Took a moment before answering. Yes. Years ago, after I lost someone close, everything felt meaningless. I thought about disappearing. Not physically, but emotionally. Just shutting down. And I looked at him, surprised. What stopped you? She asked. Keanu gave a soft smile. A friend. Someone who saw me slipping. They didn't try to fix me. They just stayed. Kept showing. Up reminded me I was still worth something. He paused, then looked at her with gentle conviction. I want to be that for you, not to rescue you. It's just to remind you you matter. Even on the days you feel invisible. Anna's eyes shimmered. This time, she didn't look away. Why do you care? She asked, voice trembling. Because I've been where you are, he said simply. And because you'd do the same for me. That night, Anna didn't cry. She sat in her apartment with tea in her hands and music playing softly. She thought of her father's laugh, of the little girl she used to be, full of dreams and light. She had almost forgotten her. But now, a small part of her remembered, and Keanu's words echoed in her chest. You matter. Even on the days you feel invisible. The next morning filming resumed. The scene was lighthearted, a romantic moment between their characters. Anna was nervous. She hadn't laughed genuinely in days, but when the camera rolled, something strange happened. Keanu whispered a joke just loud enough for her to hear. It wasn't even that funny, but the timing, the way he said it, cracked something in her. She laughed, a real open laugh, and for a second, the world stopped spinning. The director looked shocked. Katana, that was perfect. Keep that energy. Keanu just smiled. Told you laughter was medicine. After the take, Anna turned to him. You're sneaky. No, he said, grinning, just persistent. You don't give up on people easily, do you? Keanu shrugged. Not when they're worth holding on to. Anna didn't answer. She didn't need to. Because in that moment, something changed inside her. She was still hurting, still tired. But for the first time in weeks, she believed she could heal. Not alone, but together. The storm behind the smile days passed, and the set returned to its usual rhythm laughs between takes, last-minute script changes, camera angles discussed over coffee. Anna showed up every morning, said her lines, smiled when she needed to. One could tell she had almost quit 2 weeks ago. No one except Keanu. But something new was forming between them. Not romance, not dependency. It was deeper than that. It was a quiet connection built on trust. It scared Anna more than anything else. She had spent so long hiding wearing masks, performing off camera just as much as she did on it. People expected perfection from her. Even when she was breaking inside, she had to smile for the world. That's how it had always been. But Keanu saw her differently, and part of her didn't know what to do with that. One night, they were called for. An evening seen a soft emotional exchange under a street lamp set. It was a simple dialogue, but layered with feeling. Air was cool, lights casting golden shadows. They were waiting for final lighting checks when Anna turned to him. You ever get scared you're going to mess up something that matters? She asked, almost in a whisper. Keanu glanced over, his voice calm. All the time. This. She looked down, fingers brushing the script pages, though she wasn't reading them. Whatever this is between us, I'm afraid of leaning. Too much of becoming someone who needs saving. He shook his head gently. You're not someone who needs saving. You're someone who needs space to breathe. Anna looked away, swallowing hard. I don't let people in, not really. They either leave or they use it against me. And let this be different, he said softly. I'm not here to take anything from you. I just want to walk beside you, for however long you let me. For a second, she wanted to believe it. Really believe it. But her past whispered louder. The take started. And as they performed the scene, two characters talking about loss, about holding on, they both fell into something deeper. And I didn't. Act, she felt. Her voice trembled at all the right moments, not because she was trying, but because the pain was real. Keanu responded with such sincerity it felt like the cameras weren't even there. Cut. The director called. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The crew clapped softly. Anna turned away quickly, blinking back the sting in her eyes. Keanu didn't say anything, but when he passed her on the way off set, he gently touched her shoulder. No words, just a brief, grounding touch. Later, she sat in her trailer again. This time, she wasn't shaking. But her chest felt tight. A knock came at the door. Come in, she said. Already knowing who it was, Keanu stepped inside with 2 mugs of herbal tea. Figured you might need this, he said, setting one down. Beside her? You always know, she said with a small smile. He sat opposite her. Not always. Just trying to show up. Sometimes that's all we can do. She sipped her tea, then stared at the steam rising from it. Can I tell you something I've never said out loud? He nodded. When I was younger, I thought being famous would fix everything. The sadness, the loneliness. I thought if people loved me, I'd love myself. Keanu's face didn't change, but his eyes softened. And now that I have it all, the fame, the success, it's lonelier than ever, she whispered. Sometimes I think, what's the point of all this if I don't even feel like a person anymore? Keanu leaned forward. The point isn't in the lights or the roles. It's in moments like this. When you show someone your truth, when you let yourself be real. Anna bit her lip. But what if people stop loving me once they see that truth? And they were never really loving you to begin with, he said gently. They were loving an idea. But the people who matter, they'll stay. They'll love the parts you hide. Anna stared at him. No one had ever said it like that before. Not her managers. Not the press. Not the people who only called when they needed something, just Keanu, and it broke something open in her heart. Not pain this time, but relief. For the first time in forever. She didn't feel like she had to be perfect. She could just be herself. And that was enough. The next morning, she walked on set with her shoulders a little straighter. The weight wasn't gone. But it wasn't crushing her either, and when she saw Keanu standing by the monitors, sipping coffee, she smiled genuinely. He smiled back because, even though the world didn't know it, something had shifted. Anna wasn't falling apart anymore. She was starting to rebuild. A light through the cracks week rolled forward, and with it came new scenes, tighter schedules, and more pressure. The production was moving into its most intense moments, and everyone felt the weight. Even the strongest faces showed cracks beneath the surface. But Anna was different now. Yeah, fixed. Not fully healed. Yeah, but changing. Slowly. On Thursday, they were set to film the final emotional climax of the movie. It was the kind of scene that could either fall flat or leave a mark on hearts forever. Anna had the lead in it. Her character was meant to finally break down and confess everything she had buried inside. It was supposed to be raw, messy, powerful. As the makeup artist touched up her face, Anna sat still, staring at herself in the mirror. She didn't recognize the woman looking back, not because she looked different, but because she felt different. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't just surviving the day. She was present in it. You ready? Keanu asked. Gently appearing behind her reflection, she met his eyes in the mirror. I think so. No, I am. He gave a small nod like he believed her. That meant more than he knew. When they stepped onto the set, the crew buzzed with quiet focus. Lights were dimmed. Cameras were positioned. Everything was in place. The director walked over. "Ana," he said, voice low but serious. "We've got one chance to make this real. You don't need to act, just feel it. Be you." She nodded once. Her heart thudded in her chest. The slate clapped. Action. Scene began. Anna's character stood under the rain machine, water soaking her hair and clothes. She was supposed to confront the man she once trusted, the man played by Keanu. And as she stared into his eyes, something inside her cracked open. Her voice trembled. "You left me. When I needed you the most. You weren't there." The line wasn't just part of the script anymore. It came from somewhere deeper buried pain, old wounds. "You said I was strong," she continued, tears mixing with the rain, "but I was just pretending. I was falling apart and no one even saw it." Keanu's response was perfect. Not overacted. Just present. Grounded. Double quotes, "I see you now," he said softly. "I'm not going anywhere." And in that moment, the camera captured something so raw, so true, that everyone watching held their breath. When the director called cut, the set stayed silent. No claps, no words. Just the sound of rain slowly stopping. Anna wiped her face. Breathing hard, but she wasn't shaken. She felt lighter. Someone behind the monitor whispered, "That's the best thing she's ever done." The crew reset for the next scene, but Keanu stayed near her. He didn't say much, just handed her a towel and sat beside her on the bench. She looked at him. That wasn't acting. "I know," he said. "That was you." Anna leaned back, her voice calmer now. "For years I thought I had to keep my pain hidden, like it was shameful. But maybe it's okay to let people see it." "It is," Keanu said, "because your pain isn't weakness. It's proof that you feel deeply, that you care." She stared out at the set, now mostly dark, except for a few lights still glowing. "Do you ever wonder why we cross paths with certain people?" she asked. Keanu shrugged. "Sometimes. Other times I think we're just meant to." "You think you were meant to be here? With me?" During all this, he looked at her. "I think I was meant to show up, and you were meant to find your way through." Anna looked down at her hands. "You helped me when I didn't even know how to ask." He smiled gently. Sometimes, the loudest cries are silent. After the shoot, they walked to the parking lot together. The night air was cool, the sky filled with stars. As they reached her car, Anna turned to him. "Keanu. Not just for the tea, or the words, but for seeing me, the real me." He looked at her for a long moment, then said, "The world sees the star. I see the soul, and it's beautiful." She didn't cry this time. Instead, she smiled. A full, honest smile that reached her eyes. Because after everything's the headlines, the panic, the nights she wanted to give up, she had found something rare. Someone who didn't try to fix her. Someone who simply stayed. And that made all the difference. The strength she never knew she had. The final day of filming arrived like a soft exhale, quiet, heavy with meaning and layered with emotion. The set was buzzing with the energy of endings. Crew members wrapped cables, final props were stored, and the makeup trailers hummed with goodbye chatter. But for Anna, it wasn't just the end of a film. It felt like the end of a chapter she had fought to survive. She sat alone near the edge of the lot, looking out at the main stage. Memories flashed across her mind like scenes from a film, her first breakdown. The silent trailer, Keanu's voice, his patience, her tears. The first time she felt like she could breathe again. The weight she had carried for so long didn't feel as crushing now. It was still there, but lighter. Manageable. She heard footsteps behind her. Without turning, she knew. "Keanu," she said softly. He sat beside her, holding 2 coffee cups. "I figured you might want something warm." She took the cup and smiled. "You always bring something when I don't even ask." He sipped his own old habit. "When I care about someone, I pay attention." They sat in silence for a while, watching the crew move like clockwork. Everything was closing, but something inside her was opening. "It feels strange," she said finally. "This whole journey. It started with me almost breaking, and now I feel like I've found pieces of myself I forgot existed. Keanu turned toward her. That's what healing looks like. Not instant, not perfect, but steady. She nodded. You were part of that. We're the one who kept showing up. He reminded her, even when it hurt, that was all you. Anna looked down at her hands. I used to think strength meant holding everything in, never asking for help, smiling even when I was drowning. And now I think real strength is knowing when you're not okay and still choosing to move forward. Keanu smiled, proud. That's growth. The last scene they filmed was quiet and intimate. No big stunts, no dramatic speeches. Just two people saying goodbye in a small cafe. It mirrored real life more than the scriptwriters ever intended. Anna delivered her lines with a calm, grounded energy. Every emotion, every word felt earned. When the director called final cut, the crew erupted into cheers and applause. People hugged, cameras clicked, flowers were passed around. But Anna wasn't thinking about all that. She looked for Keanu in the crowd when she found him. Standing off to the side, she walked over and hugged him. Not a quick, polite hug, but a long, still one. The kind that says, "Thank you for being there when I had nothing left. I'll never forget this," she said quietly, still holding him. Me neither, he replied. After the wrap party, most of the cast drifted away, some off to new projects. Others too long overdue vacations. Anna stayed back a little longer. When the lot was almost empty, she walked to the trailer that had once been her hiding place. She stepped inside one last time. It looked just like before, neat, quiet, cold. But she wasn't the same woman who had sat there crying weeks ago. She stood in front of the mirror this time. She saw herself fully. The sadness was still there. The fatigue too, but there was something new in her. Reflection, strength, clarity, peace. She pulled out her phone and opened her notes app. With a small smile, she typed something simple. I was falling apart, and someone reminded me I didn't have to do it alone. Before she left, she taped a folded note to the mirror. One for whoever used the trailer next. It read, "If you ever feel like the world is too heavy, just breathe. Remember, you don't have to carry it alone. Someone will. See you. Someone will stay. I promise." Outside, the sun was setting. Painting the sky with soft pinks and orange tote, Keanu was waiting by his car. She walked toward him, calm and steady. He opened the door for her. You ready to go? She smiled. Yeah, I am. Good. They drove, off in silence. It's a kind of silence that feels safe. Anna looked out the window at the fading sky, and for the first time in a long time, she felt whole. Not because everything was perfect, but because she had learned how to be okay with the imperfections. She had fallen apart, and now she was building something new. Not alone, but with someone who reminded her. She was never truly broken, just learning how to be real.